Good morning, I'm Jeff. I'm a sewer tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 1335 Southwest Dorothy Street here in McMinnville. We're located on the right side of the home. I believe we have an RV dump here, so we're going to probably pass all the way through the crawl space. We're going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We currently have water running. There we go. Anyway, this line here does appear to be a RV dump. So I don't have any water flow coming down the line here. We do have a sink running, so looks like an RV dump that's in need of a cleaning though. I think it looks like it has no grade either, so that's what's causing all the debris to hang up in it. But it's not one of those lines that, if it's purely dedicated to the RV dump, is not necessarily going to affect the flow of the actual sewer line in the house. Now, unfortunately, due to this last turn here, my camera may get stuck here. I'm going to go locate the camera head and see where we're at. Alright, locate the camera head. We're still probably 30 feet or so from the main. We're taking quite a convoluted route here to get out there. We're passing from the right side of the house all the way out to the left side. And then it comes up and then travels actually all the way back across the property towards the driveway. So we're going to move the camera over to the exterior clean out on the left side of the home. We're going to scope from there. That should get us past enough turns here. So when we come back into the crawl space area, I still have sinks running, but at the very far left side of the house. So our water flow here should cut out once we get somewhere around 50 feet or so. And that's where we're going to be able to check this RV dump here. What concerns me about the RV dump in its current state is there's so much debris in there that I can't see with the camera whether there's any pipes tying into it. It's one of those things that if it purely services just the RV, it's obviously not going to have as much effect on the actual sewer line. The problem is if you get tons and tons of debris buildup and that stuff slowly but surely finally makes its way into the main line of the house in a massive chunk of debris, it's going to clog the line up. So that's the problem with the RV dump at this point. And right here around 60 feet, this appears to be the external clean out. Right about there. So that's the sink drain into the line. You'll see all of our water flow is going to stop. Or most of it should anyway. But once you start coming back into this main line here, you can just see there's just debris scattered everywhere. And it gets thicker and thicker as you kind of come back closer to this clean out. It's one of those deals where if you put a whole bunch of junk down there at once, you could just completely be clogging the line up. May have nothing to do with the slope and grade of the line. But the issue with RV dumps, they often don't have enough water flow after they've been dumped to then keep moving everything through the line. So now that the camera's gone through here, it should have carved a pathway through everything to the point where we should, for the most part, be able to see if we've got a belly here or not. It looks like a lot of eggshells have been going down the RV dump here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and reel the camera on out of here. There's enough debris in the line. I highly recommend a Hydrojet. You've got looks like the eggshells from multiple, 3 dozen egg cartons, if not more, in there. And that stuff builds up like crazy in sewer lines. So I recommend the line be jetted and then re-scope through there to see if we've got a major belly or if it's just all that debris damming up the pipe. And if it is a belly, I recommend if this dump is going to be continued to be used, that needs to get corrected in there, or else you're going to continue to have this problem. And essentially, the RV dump is continuous with the rest of the line in there, so it's one of those that, like I said, if you get enough of that massive debris moving through the line into a part of the house where the toilets are serviced and stuff, that's where you can get your line clogging up. And we're going to move on to the left side of the home, and we're going to scope all that pipe from the clean out to the main, or the exterior clean out to the main. Alrighty, we move over here to the left side of the home in the chicken coop area. We're going to zero out the camera counter right here. And for the sake of it, it looks like it also transitions here from 3 to 4 inch pipe right off the bat. But to make it easier, I'm going to kind of refer to the crawl space in the exterior as 2 different areas here. And And see, you've got eggshells moving out here too, and that's kind of the issue. It looks like this joint here may have become either offset slightly or settled. We'll look at that when it's all drained out. We've got 2 sinks running right now, quite a bit of water going down the line. Now, most of this pipe here we have already seen, so we're going to just get the camera out to the main, and then we'll shut the water off here and check the line out here on the way back. May have some standing water there. It's a pretty short section of pipe. Again, another spot we'll look at on the way out. In general, when a belly is, as long as you don't have joints that are, separated and open to the ground, in general, a belly that's 5 feet long and has 3/4 to 1 inch of water in it that's static with no water running, that's where I typically see regular old toilet paper build up in the line, not stuff that shouldn't go down the pipe, eggshells, paper towels, things like that. If you've got a little 1 or 2 foot belly, generally it's usually not even worth fixing them unless you've got 3 or 4 inches of water in it, because unless you're putting stuff down there that shouldn't go down the line, it's not going to affect the flow. I think that's where we got to last time here when the camera stopped up. But we've got a humongous root intrusion here in the line. All that stuff we're looking at there is dirt and roots. Right there. And you can see the tiny little pathway. It looks like it's transitioning here over to likely 6-inch concrete. And you've got a massive root intrusion right through that joint. Unfortunately, my camera is not wanting to move past this point here. We've got the roots holding up on the camera, but we've also just gone past that turn that stopped the camera up originally. And those 2 things combined here, it's not letting my camera move. Anyway, I recommend getting this. I'm going to go locate and mark this with a big white X. And my camera's just stopping here. I'll locate with a white X. I'll mention the depth and location here in a moment. This will be in the front yard area, just off to the left of the driveway. I highly recommend a spot repair occur here. And then at the same time, when the ground is opened up, I recommend cammering the rest of it that at least the homeowner is responsible for. If you've got a root intrusion this big right here, there could be other stuff ahead. But this is one that is going to back your line up if you don't get it corrected. I do not recommend drain cleaning just to trim it out, because that will grow back with a vengeance and quite quickly. Alrighty, so the reason this line is so stinking long, it's a very, very odd configuration. Just to kind of give you an idea of how this thing is set up here, the line exits out the left side of the house, heads up the left side of the house towards the street, and then crosses from the left side all the way back over to the as far right side of the property as you can go. So now we're over on the right side of the property, down near the street. We're probably about 4 feet from the sidewalk. There's 2 large trees over there to the right of the driveway, and that's where we're currently at. Because of the hard angle there, I'm having a hard time getting proper locate, but my camera is indicating below 15 feet there. It's entirely possible that it's shallower than that, but with the hard or steep hillside there, that alone can kind of throw the locates off. So I do recommend contacting the city and having them perform locates there. And what's hard to know right now is you might be able to do a hydrojet on that thing and clear all the roots out, and then do a pipeliner on it. If it's truly that deep, I would seriously consider that, because it's quite the project to dig down. Even if it's 10 feet, that's still quite a hole to dig there. So what we don't know is just what the line looks like after that point. But we are getting very close there to the city's right-of-way, so I would find out where they exactly take responsibility at, because it is right at the transition to concrete. Sometimes the cities will take over right at that point. Generally, it's going to be when you reach the sidewalk or the street curb, though. And after any repair work, I recommend doing a rescope to make sure it looks good. Now, we've got a few things going on with the line here. We've got a couple spots we need to check out on the way back. So this is the belly that we saw on the way out there. Again, what I'm seeing is a bunch of eggshells and junk. The actual amount of water there is less than 1/4 of an inch, which is by no means worth fixing at all. It's only about a 2-foot long belly. So as long as, again, as long as you're not putting things like pounds of grease down the pipe and eggshells and stuff, that belly is not going to affect anything. And even when you put things like paper towels down the line, it's when you do it consistently over and over and over again, it starts to build up there. So, but again, that's not a spot I'm concerned about. And then we've got one other joint here close to the clean out. It looked like it may have settled or something like that. Yeah, right here. Now I'm going to locate this and recommend a repair on it. You've got enough of a lip there. It's also an offset joint. A lot of these ABS plastic joints do not necessarily have a rubber fernco around them. These are often a glued joint, so when the joint starts to show separation, they can open up to the ground, but it's also a compromise. So it's not one that's affecting the flow in a huge way, but there's enough going on here that I'm going to recommend a repair on it. It also opens it up to the possibility of roots getting in there. Alright, just located here. This is over kind of in the chicken coop fenced in area. We're at 3 feet 7 inches deep here. I do recommend a spot repair to correct that. Again, we've got a compromised joint, and it's also only about 3 feet from a whole bunch of arborvitae trees here. Now, it's entirely possible it's tree roots that's causing this to occur already. It's in close vicinity to them. It's a common thing that happens right, before roots end up getting in. Even if they haven't or they're not wrapped around there, it's a spot where they easily could. So I recommend that be corrected. And that's marked with a white X out here. So as a quick overview, I recommend jetting the entire line out from the RV dump all the way out to the main lateral to get all the eggshells and junk out of the line. I recommend the drain cleaning guys re-scope from that RV dump to make sure that you don't have a significant amount of standing water throughout the crawl space area that needs to be corrected. Right now, it looks like it's mostly just a bunch of eggshells that got dumped down the line at this point. So anyway, jet all that out of there. We've got a offset joint right here in this dirt area. You can see the X on the ground there. And then all the way over at the front right corner of the property where there's 2 large trees, just before the sidewalk, there's a large white X with a circle around it. That's where the root intrusion is at. And that one you're going to have, if you do a trench repair, you're going to need to call for locates to get an accurate depth, because I'm not able to. My locator's indicating below 15 feet. And then if it is, in fact, that deep and a homeowner's problem, I recommend looking into jetting the line and doing a trenchless liner, because that's generally going to be cheaper than digging a 10, 15-foot hole, whatever it may be. And I recommend a rescope afterwards to check the entirety of the line once all that stuff has been done, just to get a clean bill of health. Aside from those issues I mentioned, the rest of the line we scoped is in good shape. Some of it's hard to see because of the eggshells, but the vast majority there we scoped is functioning and in good condition.